Hey, I really don't want to talk about this, and I've avoided it for most of my life, but it's something that needs to be said. I need to set the record straight, satisfy the curiosity of some of the folks who are curious. Okay, it started off, I was in my 16th year late. It was like in January of '59. I was in 11th year of high school, and my friends and I were, a couple of my friends and I were coming back from a basketball game in Piedmont. And on the way back down the highway, we come into some activities of road rage. You know, some guys come up behind us with their bright lights, and I was driving, and I was kind of arrogant, and I got behind them, shined my bright lights, and things just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And finally, we were downtown and past town, and we were still jockeying back and forth with each other. Uh, and I pinned them on the left side of the road against some oncoming traffic, and I held them there until it was almost too late. They just barely missed a head-on accident, and I quickly made a U-turn and went back through town, ran a couple of red lights, and more or less lost them before we went home. Well, the next morning I found out who these guys were. They weren't kids. They were kind of rough riders, and I found out that they also knew who I was, and it was an unsettling situation because they had vowed that I was going to pay. Well, I knew I probably would if I ever got caught by myself, by them, and I knew that probably meant what they said. And I did have a little confrontation with one of them, but it was in a crowd, and anyway, I avoided getting hurt. But I think some of the folks told my dad about it. But anyway, the next school day, I was with Bobby McElroy, and we were on our way to school, and I found out that he had been in trouble with his dad from playing hooky. Well, I'd played hooky a few times too with him, and so it was no big deal for me on that. But I really didn't want to go to school for other reasons. Well, so we decided that $20 between us would be enough for us to get out of town and maybe get a job and come back some a few years later. Hey, we were 16-year-old. But anyway, we decided to leave town. Bobby could avoid his trouble, and I could avoid mine, and we headed out going south. And by midnight, we were in New Orleans. Well, I thought a long time after that about New Orleans, and I think the last ride we had coming into New Orleans, I think he more or less called the cops and told him where we were because they picked us up for vagrancy. Uh, we had a few dollars on us, but we didn't have a job or any address or anything like that, so they charged for vagrancy. Bobby was underage, but I was an adult. I just turned 17. And anyway, the next morning at arraignment, my dad was there, and he talked to the judge, and the judge put both of us in his custody. Mom and dad both were there. And we left New Orleans. Well, on the way back, we stopped by Fayette, and we had a couple of days in Fayette and kind of enjoyed that bit, and we went on back home. Well, Dad and I, after that, had a long conversation. I come to find out he knew more about that bunch of people. Well, there were four guys. He knew more about them than I did, and he was worried. And anyway, he was on top of the situation. And the reason we had, I come to find out the reason we had went to uh, Fayette was because he wanted to make some arrangements. And he gave me a choice. He said I could either stay with one of several different relatives in Fayette and finish high school at Fayette County, or I could possibly go in military service. Well, the next day, him and I went down and talked to the Navy recruiter, and within 3 or 4 days, I was headed for San Diego. So, anyway, that's how it came about that I joined the Navy. Well, three and a half years later, I was back in Anniston, actually in the Navy service, and Dad was running a garage and body shop there in at the Y intersection, along with Rayford and Squeaky Pulse, and I worked there with them during the time, and I never did see any of those guys after that. I'd heard some rumors. I think the rumor was that one of them was in the penitentiary, and one of them had got religion, and the other two, I have no idea. You know, I don't know if any of that is true or not. It's just something I had heard or guessed. But anyway, I never saw them again. Uh, and I consider it a good thing, because I grew up a lot when I was in the Navy. I realized I was just a little snot-nosed brat when I went in, but I come out a different person, and I was more or less confident in myself, and I made myself, my presence in Anniston, might say, visual enough that if they'd wanted me, they could have found me. Nobody did. So it all turned out that way, and I guess it was for the best. And that's about it.